When Destiny 2 Forsaken came out, I think that a lot of us can agree that it was one of, or not the best DLC for Destiny ever. It was huge. Tons of content, amazing raid, just a whole mess of loot to go for, an entire change to how we play the game, where we can have double special weapons and so on. Originally, where we were running 2 primaries and bringing back the D1 format, but on top of this, innovating with the whole kinetic and secondary special weapons as well, and such, and being able to still use 2 primaries if you want. It was crazy, the amount of stuff that we got, and that's just scratching the surface. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are disappointed that Beyon Light was not like Forsaken. They clearly knew that Shadowkeep was going to be like a Rise of Iron. It wasn't going to be that big. It wasn't going to be a Taken King or anything along the lines. But then Beyon Light came out and people were really scratching their heads. Where's the loot? Where's the vendor refresh? Why is all the armor for each vendor basically copy and paste? Why is there no new strikes except for one that's kind of meh? Why is there no new Gambit maps, new Crucible maps? Why did we do the Destiny Content Vault when we lost more than we gained back? A lot of questions and a lot of concerns. But the reason why they said that they couldn't make tons of content like Forsaken and Taken King is, well, they are not with Activision anymore. They're self-publishing. They're by themselves. When they made Forsaken, they had Visceral Games to help them make that content. And a lot of people kind of forget about that. But it's really funny because we've gone full circle. Originally, I would see a lot of people complaining that Bungie was with Activision. And now people, after Beyon Light's release, are wanting them to get purchased by either Sony or Microsoft to make more content. My gosh! Like, what is going on? Is the world flipping over? What is going on? Listen, I think that Bungie can make a format where they can ensure that us players, when we get the expansion, feel like we have a lot of stuff to mess with and a lot of core activities filled with new stuff as well. And on top of this, ensuring that in the long run, we have our attention with something for keep playing Destiny throughout the year until the next expansion. So I wanted to talk about this idea. Now, right now, I'm going to say that this is an assumption that Bungie has split teams. There's teams where they're working on the Beyon Light, the big expansions, and then there's the team that works on the seasonal format stuff. The Season the Hunt, in the past, like Undying season, the Season of Dawn, Season of the Worthy, etc. So, basically split teams. I think what would be best is trying to ensure that most teams are working together, focusing on the brand new content. I know that a lot of people are going to say, well, that would be a bad idea, because what do we have to look forward to after 3-4 months and throughout the year? So, with Beyon Light as a great example, if they were to make tons of new maps, tons of new weapons, like vendor refresh and so on, if they were to spread out certain content throughout 3 to 4 months, whether it be dungeons, strikes, crucible maps, gambit maps, so on, that would keep our attention through the honeymoon phase of an expansion, where we are interested with everything that's in front of us because it's brand new for that period of time. I've noticed that after like 3 to 4 months, depending, we normally will lose our attention of that new content, that honeymoon phase of the content, and we would like to have something to replace that fatigue on the playing of the game, doing the grind, whatever. And in Taken King, they did this where they did a free update where they added Challenge of the Elders, which was essentially, in this case, like the seasons, where we get an activity that's not huge, but it's an activity that's going to keep our attention for a little bit longer. Instead of doing seasonal format stuff after that 4-month period, like I said, look at what they did with the Cosmodrome. They took something from Destiny 1 that I'm going to assume took less effort, it took less resources to bring those things forward into Destiny 2, and that led to why it was free, and of course that it's something they plan on doing more often with this year. They're going to have Fall of Glass return, obviously Sepix and Saber's Strike is also going to be returning into the Cosmodrome later this year as well. With that being said, and in my opinion, I know that a lot of people may like the season format. I'm just trying to say that this might be something that us veterans or hardcore players would like, regardless. But it's up to you. And this would be free content, removing the whole season pass, essentially. They can maybe do this if they want to, but I feel like a lot of people would be upset about it because it's reskin, sort of. But a good example would be the Savathûn expansion. They would focus on making tons of content, a new raid, a new dungeon, strikes, crucible maps, gambit maps, vendor refresh, maybe some new game modes, whatever, some kind of activity, a 6-man activity that you can do, and those would be spread out within 4 months. After that, they would reintroduce something from Destiny 1. In this sense, it would be interesting to see the Dreadnought return. And with that, the strikes that were inside the Dreadnought. But they would not be released all at once. They would be spread out, just like what they're doing in the Cosmodrome. Then, also, a little bit later, they would introduce the Taken King raid, with all the loot in there. This includes also the strikes, strike exclusives and such. Maybe even bringing back some D1 weapons that were part of the Taken King into the loot pool, just as drops inside of the Dreadnought, inside of the strikes, whatever. Maybe try and do something new, adding new weapons or armor that are tied to the aesthetic of the Dreadnought. Almost said Cosmodrome. But they can do that with the Cosmodrome too. I was actually shocked that there was no Grasp and Malak inside of the Navatu strike. I mean, I feel like taking weapons from Destiny 1 and bringing it into Destiny 2 would be okay to the extent of what they're doing with the Cosmodrome. So, I know that necessarily wouldn't be something that everybody would agree on with the Dreadnought, idea. And I even can say, like, with Lightfall, they can do the same thing, bring something from Destiny 1, a patrol zone or 2 or whatever, and add in a raid that was from Destiny 1 as well. In this sense, it'd be either the Crota raid or Axis. And having that loot pool. I feel like that would keep the attention of players at least enough till the new expansion comes out, but still having most of the team working on the expansion. Because that's the biggest thing, is I feel like the seasonal format, the seasons of content that we're getting over time, is really hindering the expansion honeymoon, where people are really liking what they're playing throughout the 4 months. I'm already hearing people getting fatigued within just a few weeks. And I know that there's some added stuff. There's a new raid with tons of cool stuff. And of course, we got some other quests of exotics to go for as well, with some lore, a new addition to the Europa, like a small little area. But that's not what majority of players are doing. They're trying to do their pinnacles inside of strikes. They're doing the repeatable stuff inside of the core playlist as well. And the fact that it's not filled with much new stuff is making them kind of just give up. They don't want to play Destiny. And we don't want that to happen. And obviously, one good way to ensure that that doesn't happen is new stuff. And ensuring that there's new content. But I know that Bungie, as I already stated, is independent. They can't make Forsaken-sized stuff. But I don't know how much resources it takes to bring stuff from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2, but I'm gonna assume that it's not really, like, super duper difficult, at least, to where they have to completely separate many teams to make that. Because it's already been made. They just got to make some tweaks to make it work for Destiny 2, I'm sure. But I think that that would be fine. In my opinion, like I said, just imagine if we had a lot of stuff in an expansion, almost to the size of Forsaken, to pretty much the size of Forsaken. But it's spread out within 4 months. And then when that is over with, they bring in some D1 stuff over the course of a certain period. So maybe like the first month they bring in the Dreadnought with 1 strike, and they have some weapons in there from the Taken King weapons, or like the Taken King expansion, not the raid weapons that would be in the raid. Then maybe fast forward another month, they add in another strike that was toward the Dreadnought. In this case, would be either Alakul or the Shield Brothers. And then after that, they can add another one if they want, another month after. If they still have the Moon, the Malik strike. You know, going after the Milkman and taking him out as well. And then after that, the Taken King raid. And then that would be it until the new expansion. I don't know. I know that in D1 we didn't have seasons necessarily. We would have like maybe a free update of stuff. Like I said, the Challenge of the Elders during the Taken King. I can't remember what we got. Oh yeah, we got Age of Triumph in Rise of Iron. I'm just trying to think of some other formats that would be plausible for Bungie, and also be something that we, as Destiny players that want to keep playing throughout the year and not get tired or bored, or feel like we're just plowing through everything way too quickly, to ensure that we are still enjoying the game, and we want to keep coming back, and there's something interesting to come back to. I mean, just because Fatebringer's coming back, and you may have used Fatebringer 50-something million times in Destiny 1, it's probably going to play differently and be a little bit more interesting, and a lot of excitement tied to it as well, to get it again, but in Destiny 2. I mean, I'm just playing the Navatu strike, and I'm noticing the game feels so much different playing in Destiny 2. It's almost like I'm playing a remaster or a remake of an area, and that's cool. I never had any problems with the whole bringing back Destiny 1 stuff from the Content Vault. I really didn't, because I thought that that was a really genius idea to keep the hardcore players who play all the time have something to come back to. And it's free. But I want to know your thoughts on this. I'm just trying to just think of stuff. That's it. So let me know if you agree or disagree, and explain why in the comments down below. Just tell me your thoughts. And of course, I hope you're having a Chibi-tastic day, evening, night, wherever you are. And as usual, thank you so much for listening. Chibi out.